I knew it. I shouldn't have been invited tonight. You should have included me out. Truly, I'm the last fellow you want if you came to be stroked into a better sleep. But since some usher forgot to bolt the door, here I am, and if I brought anything, it's a match and a little tin lantern, no kerosene of pity sloshing around, just a place for a flame to live. Do you see? I will not talk to you about how tired you are without offering a lamp for the road. Let me name it, because we must begin with truth or not begin at all. I look into faces of helpers, nurses, clergy, parents, social workers, the secret healers who sneak casseroles onto porches at dusk, and I do not see wine in their eyes, no bubbles like spring water. I see the slow leak. I see shoulders that learn to stoop. I see lips practicing a thin courage while something called love drains away and the mouth calls it sacrifice. And you ask, do you think that's the God self of you at work? Do you think the infinite wrings its hands, bleeds its heart, mortgaging joy to pay compassion's bill? Or is it human nude, our lonely little selfhood, serving from its private purse and calling the overdraft holiness? Once I sat with a young volunteer named Eli, fiction can tell a truth, who had hugged so many nights of other people's panic that when the phone rang with his mother's voice, he could only whisper, "I have nothing left to give." Do you suppose the Christ asked him to merge moods with the world until he became a sponge? When the Master said, "Let your loins be girded about and your lamps burning," did he say, "Let your lamps spill"? No. A lamp that is light to all sits in a vessel. It does not bleed, it shines. The light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. The darkness could not drink it dry. Now, I am going to risk a phrase that will bother some of you and relieve the rest. From pity to insulation. 3 words. If you will receive them, they will end your exhaustion. If you will resist them, they will follow you around until they catch you at the sink, doing dishes for the 10th time after midnight, and ask gently, is this love or is it leakage? Insulation is not ice. Insulation is not indifference. Insulation is the holy structure by which love burns and does not burn us. The lantern does not apologize to the wind. It simply keeps the flame useful. You who have loved to the point of collapse, I confess with you, I too tried to be a sentimental savior. I learned the trick of breathing in another's sorrow and calling it prayer. I thought the heaviness was proof of my care. And the Spirit said, who told you heaviness is love? Scripture is odd that way. It shows a Savior who weeps, yes, and in the same breath moves with a clarity that heals without drowning in the sea he walks upon. Freely ye have received, freely give, but give what? Not your nerves, not your moods. Give presence, give the unowned light. Let's twist that Bible upside down just enough to shake the ledger out of it. No more keeping accounts how many tears we matched with theirs, how much fatigue we endured to earn a gold star. Love is not a ledger, it's living fire. And when the heart learns the holy art of insulation, pity evaporates and the lamp grows steady. Do you hear me? We will trade the drip of pity for the steady flame of insulated compassion. Outwardly, you may seem a little cool, no theatrical sobbing. Inwardly, overheated with God for all, you will be the warmest presence in the room. So, let us light the lantern, not for our tribe only, not for tomorrow when we have more energy, but now. Put the match to it. Guard your heart with all diligence, not to barricade it, but to house the flame. This is the reframe, and it is not complicated. Compassion isn't leakage, it's light in a lantern. It shines farther because it does not spill. And before we are done, we will learn to carry it without smoke, without soot on our faces, with joy returning like a champagne spring in the marketplace. Now, let me put the stethoscope to the chest of this thing and name the disease. Humanhood, the sense of a separate personal self, trying to save the world on caffeine and guilt, hurrying holiness with a stopwatch, buying compassion on credit and paying interest at 3 in the morning. You know that one. The phone buzzes, the jaw tightens, the heart says, I must, and the spine whispers, I can't, and you pour another cup and call it faith. Do you think it's the God self of you that sprints like that? Did the Master say, my yoke is heavy and my burden is grinding? Or did he say, my yoke is easy and my burden is light? If the burden is crushing, whose yoke is it? Let me press the probe deeper. Do you think it's the God self that becomes irritable at midnight because someone forgot to say thank you? Do you think it's the God self that keeps a secret ledger, who showed up, who didn't, how many casseroles, how many compliments? Do you think it's the God self that learns insomnia as a sacrament and bitterness as a spice? Or is that humanhood puffing and panting, the breath of the personal rescuer, fogging the glass until the world looks like a duty and every person a demand? Here is the leakage mechanism, and it isn't mystical. It is plumbing, emotional interchange. We uncap our valves and let the moods of another run into our system until our system echoes their cry and names it love. We breathe in panic and call it prayer. We mirror despair and call it empathy. We wear another's weather until our sky goes gray. Be not conformed to this world, Paul said. And we conform to the latest crisis like wet clay to a fist. We take their fear and install it. We take their story and inhabit it, and soon their ghost pays rent in our chest. The early warning signs arrive politely at first. The martyr narrative knocks. Only I can help. Have you heard Elijah mutter, I, even I only, am left? And the Lord answers, I have reserved 7,000. Pride writes poetry about itself in the minor key. Secret scorekeeping slides under the door. How much I did, how late I stayed, how little they knew. And then the small resentments, the salt that spoils the soup, begin to glitter like trophies. These are not sins to be whipped. They are flares lighting the path back to impersonal love. Burnout does not come from loving too much. It comes from loving as a separate self. Love, when routed through a private identity, meets friction, heats up, smokes, and finally burns the instrument. That heat is not holiness. It is resistance. Name it, humanhood. And once named, we can die daily to it. But first, see it, so it will stop pretending to be your heart. Here is where the blade goes in, gently but without flinching. I die daily, Paul said. And I used to think he was being dramatic until I felt the drip and knew what must be put to death. Not the capacity to love God, forbid, but the personal rescuer who enjoys the strain, who smiles for the thank you and sulks for the absence of it, who warms his hands over the campfire of crisis. Do you think the Christ bends to that fire, or does he carry his own Son? He that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. Lose what life? The life of mood merging, ledger keeping, sympathy sweating humanhood. We do not kill compassion. We crucify its counterfeit. We let the separate self expire on 1,000 small crosses until only presence remains to love. Now, the paradox that makes some of you nervous and the rest of you free. Outwardly cold-blooded, inwardly overheated with love for God and man. Outwardly, because the surface is calm. You will not see me wring my hands with your storm. I am not a sponge. Inwardly, because the furnace is set to God and the heat does not flicker with the weather, this is insulation. Not withdrawal, not apathy, not the shrug of the cynic, but the holy casing that lets love burn. Let your loins be girded about and your lamps burning. A lamp, yes, but not a torch flinging sparks into dry grass. The girding is the insulation, the burning is the presence. Let me hand you the lantern and point out its anatomy so you will stop spilling oil on the floor and calling the slick a miracle. The container is boundaries, sacred, cheerful no's that protect the yes of your calling. The container is what refuses emotional interchange. It's the glass that keeps the wind out. The wick is attention. Where the mind turns, the fire takes shape. Trim the wick, clear the soot of opinion, fear, and personal history so the flame shows a steady light, and the oil is presence spirit, the life of God, the thing no man can purchase or perform. Without the container, all oil on the floor. Without the wick, smoke without sight. Without oil, a museum of good intentions. Be not conformed to this world is not a moral wag of the finger. It is engineering advice. Do not conform to the crisis's shape, to the sufferer's mood, to the schedule of panic. Conform to the inner Christ, that is, the wick turned Godward. Abide in me, and I in you, said the Master. Abide is the oil word, not visit. Abide, then the container, no emotional interchange, becomes kindness itself, because clarity is kinder than merging. The moment I join your sorrow as my own, I have offered you two drowning men. The moment I stand still as presence, the sea remembers to be glass. You say, but I live in traffic, not a monastery. Good. The monastic life I am preaching is not a cloister of stone. It is a robe of quiet worn in the marketplace. A monastic in the world answers the midnight call without taking the caller into his bloodstream. He stirs the soup without seasoning it with his nerves. He walks into the ward with no melodrama, no pep rally, no pity, just the overheated heart for God and man that does not cool with rejection or flare with applause. He holds no man in condemnation. He prays for those who despitefully use him, and there is no interchange because there is no separate self to trade with. So die daily to the drip. Each day, let the rescuer fail to resurrect. Let him not answer the door when pity knocks. Let presence answer, and watch how the lamp steadies. Insulation is not a wall. It is a vessel. It does not hide the light. It houses it. And when you carry that lantern long enough, you will notice a quiet courage rising where fatigue used to live, and a joy that does not bargain, does not keep accounts, does not burn you as it burns for all. Now let me do what I threatened. Let's twist that Bible upside down and shake the ledger out of it. The eye for an eye bookkeeping that has smuggled itself into prayer. Do you think the Father keeps a spreadsheet of sighs? Do you think he dispenses peace by time card? Forgive, said the Master, 70 times 7. Judge not, that ye be not judged. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Where in those red letters is the abacus? Yet I meet holy accountants who do 2 times 2 mercy in their sleep. They pin receipts to intercession. Lord, I have given 40 hours. Return unto me double strength. Lord, I have borne with 3 ungrateful souls. Send me 1 grateful one. That is ledger love. It exhausts the giver and embarrasses the receiver. It is pity with a calculator. Take a red-letter gospel and keep it where your hand can find it. Don't quote it. Rephrase it until it breathes in you. It is the Father that dwelleth in me. He doeth the works. Becomes not I, not my nerves. Thy love be the doer through this instrument. Abide in me, and I in you. Becomes keep me in the oil. Turn the wick Godward. Peace I leave with you. Becomes let the sea in me remember to be glass. The verses stop being rewards to a striver and become currents carrying a branch that's surrendered. Reorient prayer and the economy changes. Instead of reward me for helping, we whisper, reveal thyself as help. Instead of swiping a celestial debit card, we consent. Bear thyself through me as clarity, as no emotional interchange, as steady flame. What happens when the cash register is rolled from the sanctuary? The beggar in us begging for thanks, outcomes, signs, goes quiet, and the bearer wakes. We stop tipping God. We stop bargaining with tears. We stop rescuing in our own name and let the name do what? It does heal, order, forgive, restore. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Hear it, and let your shoulders fall. When love ceases to be a ledger and becomes a presence, pity dissolves. There is nothing to perform. Insulation appears like clear glass around a flame. Suddenly the wind can't have you. You stand in a ward, in a kitchen, not cold but untroubled, not merged but merciful, and results come without theatrics. You are no one's possession and everyone's servant. The master's arithmetic proves itself. Give and it is given. Forgive and you are free. Not payment, presence. Not exchange, emanation. And joy, that champagne spring I keep promising, begins to fizz in the marketplace because you are no longer pricing love. You are bearing God. No emotional interchange means exactly this. I witness, I do not swap. I stand as atmosphere, not as sponge. Your storm may thrash, but the barometer in me stays Godward. Do you think I love you less because I refuse to wear your weather? Or do you think I honor you more by remembering the sky you forgot? When the master stood in a boat asleep on a wet pillow and was roused to a choir of panic, did he adopt the panic? Or did he say, peace, be still, and make the sea remember itself? The sea did not lend him its terror. He lent it his calm. That is no interchange. Do not mistake it for chill. Outwardly, the hands cool like a surgeon's, steady, no tremor. Inwardly, the furnace roars, hotter for God and for you than pity ever could. This is why some call it cold. There are no theatrics, no sympathetic sighs braided together into a rope that pulls both of us under. But hear me, clarity is the kindness. Let not your heart be troubled, he said. If my heart joins your trouble, which one of us is left to remember that command? It is not indifference to keep my heart untroubled. It is obedience. It is availability. It is how love does the work. Boundaries, then, are not walls against you. They are walls against confusion. You do not need my panic. You need my poise. You do not need my echo. You need my ear. You do not need my nerves. You need my knowing. When a drowning man clutches, the lifeguard does not merge into the thrash. She takes a trained grip and brings him to shore. The grip looks impersonal to the sentimental eye, but it is the warmest act on earth at that moment. Be still and know that I am God. The stillness is the grip. The knowing is the shore. Let me draw the lines in the dust where the sandals can see them. No emotional interchange means I name the feeling, present fear, grief, rage, without making it mine. I do not mirror your panic. I stabilize it by refusing its authority. I do not agree with the verdict your pain has reached about reality. I hear the case and decline the sentence. It means I keep my inner atmosphere so clean that when I say peace, it is not a wish but a fact looking for a face. It means my tongue is slow and my prayer is quick. Father, reveal thyself here as presence. I won't wring my hands. I will present the lamp. And because we are so fond of living inside our instruments, let me remind you, step outside the body and the bank book. Use them. Do not be used by them. The body is fine conveyance. Jump in, deliver the meal, dry the tears, fold the linen, and jump out. If you live inside it, if you worship its surges and sinkings, you will call fatigue truth and mistake adrenaline for anointing. As for the dollar bills, God gives you a handful to play with. Buy bread, buy bandages, pay the light bill of a widow, and put the marbles down. Do not wear them as soul jewelry. Money has no mood to catch, but you can catch a mood about money and make it your God quicker than you can say overtime, and then your service belongs to a ledger again. Practically, I keep 3 doors on their hinges. Time. I offer a full yes within the hours of grace and a clear no outside them, so my yes remains bright. Touch. I let my hand rest, not clutch. A palm on a shoulder that says, I am here, not I am you. Talk. I ask short, clean questions and listen until God's answer surfaces, resisting the seduction to embroider the story into a tapestry of shared despair. And all the while, the silent prayer hums without words, abide, 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 until the sea in me remembers to be glass and proves it to the room. You ask for proof? Walk with me onto a shop floor where a foreman named Martyr let fiction tell us truth was unraveling, rage shaking because 3 deadlines kissed the same hour. 10 faces mirrored her shake and called it teamwork. I stood, said little, breathed once, and did not take her storm into my lungs. Let not your heart be troubled, the red letters rose, and I lent them to the air. Instructions sorted themselves, one task, then the next, then the next. In 10 minutes, the room unclenched. Did I heal her? No. I refused interchange and bore presence. Presence ordered the room. On another day, in a hospice ward, a daughter needed a hysteric to sob with. She received instead a stillness that let her cry without drowning. Peace, be still. Not performance, fact. So when I say no emotional interchange, hear me tenderly. I will not merge with you because I love you, not because I am above you. I will stand where your true self already is clear, beloved, unafraid, and invite you there. If I must seem cool while the fire of God burns in secret, forgive me. The kindness is clarity. The proof is peace. And when the scene ends and the lamp is returned to its hook, I will set down this body like an apron and these dollars like playthings, and tomorrow, God willing, I will pick them up again to serve, still insulated, still aflame. Come with me into the casebook, not to boast, but to offer you a witness that presence works without the handshake of shared nerves. One midnight, a call, a boy seized in fear, breath snagging like a coat on a nail. Come, they pleaded. I felt the tug of bedside drama rise, be seen, be precious, be the hero, and I let it die. Speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. The red letters opened in me, and I took my seat in the dark. No candles, no trembling. I did not picture lungs. I did not wrestle a diagnosis. I turned the wick Godward and abided. Peace, be still. The command was not mine. It was the room within me remembering its law. The voice on the line softened. He's quieting. He's breathing. We did not hold hands across state lines. We did not trade anguish. He sent his word and healed them, the psalmist sang. And the word required no mileage, no performance, only a vessel not leaking pity. The next day, the report read plain as daylight. The panic did not return. Do you think my restraint harmed them? Or did refusing interchange spare them a second crisis mine? Another page, the prison yard. I have gone into those concrete cloisters where men tattooed with their shame call themselves monsters before the God can. Here is the rule I carry like a small law. I will not hate the crime, and I will not romanticize the criminal. I will not join the chorus of disgust, and I will not compose poetry about your wound. I will see the Christ, or I will keep my mouth shut. I was in prison, and ye visited me. Visited whom? Not the crime, the one forgotten under the paperwork. So I sit in a circle with Ramon. Let fiction tell us truth, and 3 who admire his rage, and 2 who fear it. We do not exchange heat. I do not clap for his confession nor flinch at his bravado. I ask, who told you your name is violence? And then I watch the air while I keep my inner hand on the lamp. Week 1, fewer interruptions. Week 3, The shiv is turned over, casual as a gum wrapper. Week 6. Ramon writes a letter not for parole but for apology. No romance in it, no sob story, just dignity waking. A guard leaning on a doorway says, "Whoever you're not preaching, change the weather, neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more," is not a sentiment, it is a jurisdiction. When we refuse interchange, we stop amplifying the lie that a man is his act and the man answers to a higher name. Hear the service ethic that keeps this clean. I never solicit. I hang no shingle that reads, "Healer for hire. Bring your drama. I'll match it." When a case comes by, sincerity, no theatrics, no fishing for a show, I say yes. And that yes is a lantern hung over a door day and night until harmony registers. Not a day and a night of pacing and pleading, but an abiding poise I return to between errands, between appointments, between sleep and waking. I do not meter minutes, because presence is not purchased, and I do not perform availability, because exhaustion is not proof. If the inner bell says, "This is not your case," I bow out without apology. Entanglement helps no one. But when it is mine, I keep the flame girded and the glass clean until the fact of peace appears on the surface, not as my triumph, but as God keeping his own word. And the metric? It will scandalize the sentimental, but write it in your pocket testament. The less emotion swapped, the more transformation observed. The quieter I keep my waters, the quicker the boat stops thrashing. The fewer tears I trade for yours, the faster your eyes clear to read the way home. Outwardly, it may look cold, no hand-wringing, no choir of sighs. Inwardly, it is a furnace for God and for you that does not sputter with weather. Insulated love proves itself in results without theatrics. Not because of me, because a steady flame heals more rooms than a burning match. Now, let me walk you down the corridor. No one tours on purpose the dark night of the helper, because if we skip it, we'll be back to swapping moods by Thursday. I confess it as my own biography. I mistook adrenaline for anointing, applause for authorization. I carried casseroles and secret cameras in my heart. Look how compassionate I am. And when the thank you cards came, I felt 10 feet tall. When they didn't, I shrank to pocket-sized holiness, sulking. Do you think it's the God self of us that feeds on compliments like sugar? Do you think the infinite needs our metrics? Take heed that ye do not your alms before men to be seen of them. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. And I had mine, the seesaw reward. Elation when noticed, dejection when ignored. Both belong to humanhood. Then the mercy of God turned out the lights, not as punishment, don't flatter yourself, but as weaning. The sweetness drained from performance. Prayers felt like paper. No glow, no goose flesh, no audience. Cases that had flattered my image went quiet or went elsewhere. I tried to pump the old bellows, longer hours, louder sighs, and nothing moved. Do you think heaven was being stingy? Or was the idol failing my rescuer identity, starving at last? I die daily. I had preached it. Now I was required to practice it. Die to the part that needed to be necessary. Except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. Into the ground I went anonymous, unthanked, not even certain I was useful. The fiercest ember I found was guilt. Say no to an after-midnight performance, and guilt roars. If you loved, you'd go. If you're holy, you never sleep. I watched that dragon breathe, and I did not mount it. I sat, spine straight, lamp unlit to drama, and whispered, "Let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, and then. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus." The guilt burned like fog under noon sun. By morning, the case had rightful help without my theatrics, and a rib in me unclenched. Another day, another no clean, not cruel, and the rescuer lost more territory. When guilt ceased to bribe or bludgeon, a lighter man walked the same street. On the far side, service stopped performing and began to flow. I forgot to be the helper and remembered joy. Outcomes arrived like weather ordered, fresh without my hand arranging clouds. I found I could enter a room and not count myself in it. The work was done, and no one knew who did it, least of all me. He must increase, but I must decrease. Decrease what? The self that needs to see itself. Increase what? Presence that simply is. Outwardly, perhaps cooler hands. Inwardly, a hotter heart for God and man than any fever of pity. Real compassion emerges after the personal rescuer dies. Let him go, beloved. Die daily to the seesaw, and the champagne spring returns, not as a show, but as the native pressure of life. Then the night is not an ending. It is the room where dawn begins. Now, because poetry without practice is cruelty, let me hand you small, street-worthy acts, the lantern crafts that make insulation not a theory but a gear you can feel click into place while the bus roars and the baby cries and the text arrives at the red light. These are tiny, repeatable, almost embarrassingly simple, but they are the training wheels of presence, and if you will be faithful in little, the great currents will trust you. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. We begin small to become steady. First, the pre-encounter pause. 3 breaths as holy as any hymn you have memorized. Before you answer the ring, before you cross the threshold, before you open the email from the volcano, breathe. Inward, not I. Outward, but the presence. Inward, not I. Outward, but the presence. Inward, not I. Outward, but the presence. On the last outward, step outside the body, yes, step out. It's a garment, remember? And then pick it up like an apron for use. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. You murmur without performing it. Then the jaw unhooks, the chest widens, and you turn the wick Godward. You are not entering as a fixer, you are entering as a lamp. Second, the micro-litany. Carry a red-letter word like a hot coal in your pocket and rephrase it until it warms your own tongue. Abide in me, and I in you becomes keep me in the oil, keep the oil in me. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you becomes let the sea in me be glass, and let it lend its calm. It is the Father that dwelleth in me. He doeth the works, becomes not my nerves, not my brilliance, do thou thyself hear. Don't quote these to the room, breathe them to your root. 10 seconds of inner consent can reverse an hour of outer panic. Do you think the Father requires oratory, or does he ask for availability? Third, the no interchange check. In the scene, ask quietly, without moving your lips, am I mirroring or witnessing? If you feel your pulse borrowing theirs, if your thought stream starts dressing in their weather, stop mid-sentence if needed and breathe once more. Hands loose, eyes soft, tongue still. Be still and know that I am God. Knowing requires stillness. Stillness cuts the cords. If you have already merged, and we do, being human, untangle without self-scolding. Withdraw the hook of pity. Offer the net of presence. Reestablish the casing. I am atmosphere, not sponge. You do not need my echo, you need my lamp. Try it in a grocery line when the clerk is frayed. Try it in a staff meeting when the agenda swells. Try it with a child whose tears recruit your adrenaline. Mirroring exhausts both. Witnessing invites God to be visible. Fourth, the post-encounter release. Bless, forgive, let go. No backstage rumination. Do you think rehashing is prayer, or is it worry rehearsing for encores? After the call, whisper, Father, into thy hands I commend this case. After the meeting, forgive 70 times 7, which here means forgive the inner critic. Forgive the outcome for being midstream. Forgive the world for not clapping. Send a brief benediction, God keep you, and set it down. If a rag of the story clings to your sleeve, take 1 minute to visualize it in the light, not in detail, but as a name placed on an altar, and walk away. Take no thought for the morrow. Thought is not care, presence is care. Rumination is the old bookkeeping, sneaking back with a mustache. Finally, the daily die. In the morning light, or the car before the shift, or the stairwell between tasks, list what the personal self claims today. Write it if ink helps. Today I claim to be right in the meeting, to be thanked by noon, to be seen as indispensable, to keep my schedule sovereign, to control that outcome, to rescue that person so I can feel alive. Then surrender each on a small cross, not I, thy will. He must increase, but I must decrease. Cross a line through each claim and hand it over. Then wait not long, not theatrically, until you feel even the faintest bubble, the first cheerful pressure of that champagne spring. If no bubble comes, do not panic. Practice has begun. Later in the day, repeat the list when a new claim shouts. Evening comes, review without flogging. Where did I merge? Where did I bear? Where did I rumble backstage? Where did I bless and release? A brief, tender audit, and then, there is therefore now no condemnation, and sleep as one entrusted, not employed. These are not monkish feats, they are street liturgies. 3 breaths, a red letter cold, a mirror check, a benediction and release, a daily dying of claims. Insulation is trained by such tiny obediences until the casing thickens and the flame steadies. Do this under the fluorescent lights and under the stars, in boardrooms and basements, and one day you will notice outwardly cool hands, inwardly overheated heart, fatigue replaced by quiet joy. The world will still whirl, but you will carry your own sun. Boundaries in motion are not fences on wheels. They are a lamp carried by a listening heart. I do not hunt for sorrow as if misery were my ministry. I do not chase headlines, stretches, or whispers. Do you think the Christ ran after storms? Or did storms come to the Christ and forget themselves? My sheep hear my voice, and I hear his. I answer where sincerity rings, not where spectacle shouts. Consent governs service. When a case rises clear, no fishing for attention, no barter for outcomes I go. When the tug is murky, I wait without apology. Freely ye have received, freely give. Yes. And also, when a town refuses peace, shake off the dust of your feet. Consent on both sides keeps the lamp clean. Universal love is impartial, but it is not indiscriminate, it is guided. It pours through the opening God makes, not through every crack that guilt imagines. Time and scope are holy instruments. Accept few, serve wholly, decline many, guilt-free. Let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. A bright yes is a covenant. A guided no is a blessing that guards the lamp for the rightful yes. No man can serve 2 masters, not God and outcome, not spirit and everyone's emergencies. If I try to be owned by all, I belong to none and fail God besides. Boundaries move like tides under the moon of spirit. There are hours to pour and hours to be poured into. Mary hours at the feet and Martha hours with flour on the hands. Misread the hour, and you exchange presence for performance. Read it, and a small act becomes sacrament. Non-condemnation is the atmosphere of this ethic. Fold no one in blame, not the slow, not the loud, not the chronically returning, not the self who forgot and merged again. Judge not, that ye be not judged. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Forgive as often as breath, 70 times 7, until you lose count and keep forgiving by nature. If I blame you, I misremember who you are. If I blame me, I block the very mercy I must carry. Condemnation is a sandstorm. Insulation is a clear pane. Keep it clean. Clarity is the kindness. Detach from outcomes as a branch rests in the vine. I obey the inner nudge. God holds the harvest. Paul plants. Apollos waters. God gives the increase. I let not my left hand know what my right hand does. Seek first kingdom. Retire the scoreboard. Thus I can serve all by belonging to none. Mother, brother, stranger, beloved each, owners none. Who is my mother? Whoever does the Father's will. I go where love sends and nowhere else. Now check the fruit where it can't lie on the face. Audit the eyes at morning and at dusk. Is there light, or the gray of heroic fatigue that whispers, I have loved by leaking? Do you think the Father requires you to look like the undertaker of your own soul to prove you care? Let your light so shine, not your pallor. The joy of the Lord is your strength, not your grimness. I ask it of myself first. After a day of compassion, do I carry a small sunrise or look as if I wrestled God for permission to sleep? Joy is not a grin staple to duty. It is the quiet effervescence, the champagne spring rising for no audience but God. Here is a metric than applause. After service, are you clearer, lighter, spacious? If room in you widens, the casing held. If you are fogged, clenched, cramped, you leaked. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. If it is heavy, whose yoke are you dragging? When presence does the work, the body may tire as a good tool tires, but the heart grows simple. Outwardly cold-blooded, inwardly overheated with love that does not sputter. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, gentleness, goodness, faith. Fruit, not fumes. If we are smoking, we burn sentiment. If we are shining, we bore God. Watch what happens to a street when even one insulated lantern walks it. In a checkout line, one clear face steadies 10. In a clinic, one poised nurse softens a wing. Charts still pile, but tempers don't. Pity lights no one. It smokes and sets off alarms. It fills corridors with performance. But a lamp with clean glass multiplies without trying. A city set on a hill cannot be hid. A city is many lamps consenting to one fire. Does mood merging build that city? Or does clarity invite the neighborhood to remember its native light? And the playful signs appear. Money and time lose their frowns. They feel like marbles to share, not anchors to guard. You give an hour and find two returned in wideness of breath. You pass $1 and it comes back as room in the heart. Freely ye have received, freely give, and take no thought, not folly. Stop bowing to the calendar. Dollars become instruments, schedules, tides. So let joy be our proof, not our project. Rejoice evermore. Keep the spring uncorked, the casing clean. If joy thins, do not scold, die daily again. Refuse, interchange, return to the vine. Then the marketplace hears ease doing holy work. Your face preaches better than words. Light in the eyes, steady hands, a laugh that does not bargain at all. So here we are at the door, lanterns in hand, faces clearer than when we came in. We began by trading the drip of pity for the steady flame of insulated compassion, and I will not let you leave without a compact you can carry on the street. Write it in the marrow. From pity to insulation, love impersonally, serve universally, keep joy. That is the 3-word path we have walked in 11 rooms of one house. And it is not an idea. It is a vow, hung above the heart like a small law. No emotional interchange. Outwardly steady, inwardly aflame. Let not your heart be troubled, not because we ignore trouble, but because we refuse to fund it with our nerves. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. We take that peace as policy, not poetry. Make it plain. We vow to die daily to the rescuer that craves applause and exhaustion as proof. We vow to stand as atmosphere, not sponge, to lend the sea our calm, not borrow its storm. We vow to see the Christ or keep silence, no romance of wounds, no chorus of disgust. We vow to be outwardly cold-blooded, hands cool, speech clean, and inwardly overheated with love for God and for man. We vow to let forgiveness be our climate. 70 times 7, for them and for ourselves, until blame cannot find a face to land on. We vow to serve wholly when sent, and to wait gladly when not sent, belonging to none so we can belong to all. Take the travel kit. First, a red-letter word rephrased to your tongue, warm in your pocket like a coal. Abide in me becomes, keep me in the oil, keep the oil in me. Be still and know that I am God becomes still the mirror. Let the knowing do the work. It is the Father that dwelleth in me. He doeth the works becomes, not my nerves, not my brilliance do thou thyself here. Second, the daily die. Each morning cross out the self-claims, be thanked, be right, be necessary, and whisper, I live. Yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Third, the body as instrument, never tomb. Jump in to serve, jump out to rest. Let fatigue be a good tool's ache, not your identity. Fourth, money and time as marbles and tides, freely ye have received. Freely give without ledger piety or calendar tyranny. Fifth, the post-encounter release, Father into thy hands, and then no backstage rumination. Lantern up, lantern down, casing clean. And now the last questions that choose your road. Do you think love needs our drama to be recognized as love? Do you think God is impressed by our sweaty foreheads and trembling voices? Do you think the sick are healed by our synchronized sobbing, or by the presence that says, with unborrowed authority, peace be still? Do you think the poor are served by our pity pageantry, or by a quiet abundance that refuses to turn dollars into gods? Do you think the world needs our mood, or our lamp, our performance, or our yes? Let us vow, then, and let it be light as breath and strong as oak. No emotional interchange. I will witness, not swap. I will carry an insulated flame, clear, universal, and joyous. I will love impersonally, so that love can be personal through me. I will serve universally by belonging to none and answering where God opens the door. I will keep joy as my proof, the champagne spring that does not bargain. If I forget by noon, I will die again by 1. If I merge by 3, I will disentangle by 3:05. If guilt knocks at midnight, I will answer with yea, yea, nay, nay, and sleep in the everlasting arm. And we go now into corridors and checkout lines and kitchens with a small city set on a hill behind our eyes. Let your light so shine, not your strain. Rejoice evermore, not as confetti, but as oxygen. Carry your lantern, keep your casing, remember your coal, lay down the tomb, pick up the instrument, say yes where spirit sends, say no where guilt demands, bless, forgive, release. From pity to insulation, from humanhood to God's self, from drip to steady flame, this is compassion that does not burn out. Go softly, go surely, and let the world feel the weather change.